So coming into one of the, talking earlier about some of the videos that I saw, I also saw this morning your video in regards to 7 texts to build sexual tension. And you talked a little bit earlier already about things that you do to make sure that you really connect with your wife. I was wondering, if you can share a couple of extra things that you do, and to make sure that your long-term relationship, because at least for me, I'm married, and for me it's like you're married until death do us part.
Yeah.
How to make sure that it stays fresh and exciting.
Well, it's like a lot of guys talk about this, but dating your wife and treating her like realizing that, when you have kids, everything seems to be focused in on them. So you still need to remember that, like, your children will at some point leave and you'll be stuck, you're still with this person. So making sure that you're doing things together, that you're having conversations. I find that I try to have a daily meeting with my wife. It's like we just have coffee in the mornings. We like to sit and we have a very nice, simple coffee for 30 minutes to sometimes 45 minutes. And I know not everyone can do that, but I've worked hard to set up my life and my business so I can have a leisurely morning coffee with my wife. And we try to have breakfast together as a family. That's when we'll discuss things as well. But I find just simply like having that time to talk and to converse, that's important. We do a lot of event. My wife schedules most of the events, and we go to, of course, birthday parties like I think any parents do. We go to other events that we've been invited to. But I think constantly complimenting her. I try to not to take for granted. My wife is, she's a homemaker, but she also homeschools the kids. So constantly, being thankful when I come home and there's a meal made, it's like, that's a big deal. It's like coming back home and things are taken care of. And just, complimenting her, trying to also take on responsibilities. Like last night, my wife normally does take the kids into the city and drives them around, which is for us a 30-minute drive away. And I'm like, I can do this tonight. So that means that I took all of our younger kids, and that gives my wife a solid 4 hours that she is able to, we had 2.5 hours of dance. Then there's a 30-minute there, 30-minute back. So a solid 3.5, 4 hours that my wife has to herself. And I also let her know, after I leave, she seemed a little bit frustrated. Hey, babe, I love you. And you looked a little bit frustrated. Don't feel that you got to do anything. Go to the gym, take care of yourself, have a cup of coffee, have a cup of tea. Don't worry about now. Of course, she still tries to do things around the house, but for her to know that I'm not expecting anything and I don't take it for granted, I think is a big step that a lot of guys can take. I mean, yeah, sending texts and, letting her know, we have secret messages that we still, send to each other. That stuff's nice, but I think the daily, I buy a lot of flowers, or not a lot, but at least once every other week, I just buy flowers here at the grocery store and drop them off. Not that there's any special occasion. It's just simply, it's like, hey, you need some flowers, in the house, it's like, and little things like that I find go a long way, especially because I know I'm going to screw up something at some point. It's like I'm kind of building myself up, chits, and she's more likely, I find, to forgive if it's like, hey, this is just something off, versus it becomes a pattern that you're constantly taking her for granted.
Exactly. Yeah, I can relate, and I think all men can relate that we real quickly take for granted our loved ones, our wife.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was great advice. I appreciate it. Something that we always have to take into account. Keep working at it, and don't just think that she's always going to be there, because also for her, she wants to be there, and appreciate that. Hey man, I hope you got all the information out that you were looking for. If so, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you hit the bell, then every time we come out with a new video, you will be informed. For now, thanks for listening, and I hope to see you soon.